Jamel President grew up less than a mile from the College of Charleston and graduated from Burke High School. He was as hard-nosed and spirited as any player I have ever coached. On the defensive end, he always guarded our opponent's best scorer. His jump shot was picture perfect, and he iced many games with his foul shots. In fact, in his senior year, he ranked 4th nationally from the foul stripe. He played in the backcourt with Anthony Johnson, and they made a magnificent duo. In an NCAA game against Stanford at the United Center in Chicago, Jamel was voted Chevrolet Player of the Game. After graduation from the college, Jamel has given so much back to the community. He presents to youngsters seminars in SAT taking and academics, and conducts clinics and camps teaching the ABCs of basketball. He is also president and CEO of the DAE Foundation. Jamel, congratulations, and a big thanks for your contributions and the role model you have become for the youth of Charleston.
President Benson.
Fundamentally mindful. And tonight, oatmeal recipe edition, we got Janet Carter talking about nutrition, Harry Cornell focusing on academics, and myself will be talking about skill development. DAE TV, fundamentally mindful.
Hi, and welcome back to the DAE TV nutrition segment. This is Janet Carter, registered dietitian at MUSC. And I'm going to continue the series that we have been talking about with the food groups. And today I want to talk about the proteins. And this tends to be what people think is the most important food group, but actually it's not. Fruits and vegetables, I would say, would be the most important. Protein is an important nutrient, but it is not any more important than fat and carbohydrates. It's just that we need different amounts of these types of nutrients. And so it's important to realize that not one of them is more important than any other. It's good to get a good balance. So with the meats group or the protein group, one of the most important things to remember is that you do want to try to get some of your protein from plant sources. So plant sources of protein are nuts and beans like lima beans, pinto beans, and things like tofu. Not everybody's favorite item, but you can make it in different ways. And it's actually very healthy for you. The reason why you want to try to get some of your protein from plant sources is because animal sources tend to be higher in saturated fat, which is an artery clogging fat, and cholesterol only comes from animal sources. So this will help, choosing foods from plant sources will help you to decrease your intake of cholesterol for sure, and definitely your saturated fat intake as well. It's also really a great idea to try to cut down on red meat. You also want to try to do low-fat meat as often as possible. And if you try to have fish at least twice a week, that's really very heart protective as well. So that is pretty much it about the protein group of foods. And if you have any specific questions that you'd like me to address on the segment, or if you have your own needs that you would like to discuss with me privately, you can reach me at dietjc24@yahoo.com.
Me and Mr. President, we work together on DAE TV. I do academics, which means I talk about the school stuff. And not all the time the school stuff is the fun stuff to talk about, but it's the stuff that we have to talk about. Because without school, we can't get a good job, we can't go to college, we can't do anything without school. Exactly. Education is very important. Now we're going to talk about 3 things about education that's very, very important. Math, English, and science. Now when you sit in the classroom, those are the 3 major subjects that you really, really, really need to pay attention to when the teacher's talking about it. All right? Now let's talk about math. Can somebody tell me how we use math in everyday life?
Like if you have a job, you do math. You can know how to count money.
You gotta know how to count money.
You can get a job like in the army because you gotta mark the bookies to put which stuff in the bag.
Exactly. Okay, math is everywhere. Okay? And math is a major subject they need to make sure that they pay close attention to when the teacher's talking about math. Because math is everywhere. Understand? Math is in the shoes you put on. Yeah. What size shoes you wear?
3.
Isn't that a number?
2.
That's math.
2.
Understand? What size jacket you got on?
I don't know. 10, 12.
See? That's math. Listen, math is everywhere.
Different countries. Education.
Yeah.
Science is everywhere you go.
Science is everywhere you go.
You gotta know science to be a scientist.
You do gotta know science to be a scientist, but you don't have to be a scientist to know science. Okay? Let me tell you something science is. Everybody look at your clothes. You got a color on, right? It takes a scientist or somebody who knows how to mix chemicals or to mix colors to make whatever color it is you got on. So it takes science to make colors. It takes science to make a lot of things. Science is everywhere. Understand?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about English.
English because when you're talking, you have English and some different people doesn't have the same English as you. But when you have an English test or a Spanish test, you have to pay attention to know all your English words.
We use English every day and to write down thoughts and to write certain things. And in order to make sure you're able to write the things that you're asked to write, you have to know a little bit of English, okay? So math, science, and English is involved in everything that we do. Understand? And if you guys pay real close attention in math, English, and science when the teacher talks, you pass your PAC test. Yeah, the PAC test.
Yeah, they used to call it back in the day, the English test.
Yeah, see when you take the PAC test, the PAC
English
test, when you pay attention to English, math, and science, you get high scores on those tests.
100.
And then the school get high scores on those tests. Everybody gets high scores. And you know what happens when everybody gets high scores?
No.
Everybody passes. And everybody's happy.
And everybody wins.
And everybody is a winner.
DAE TV, find out live.
let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on, Josh, handle. Last one, let's go. Same way. Good, good. Come on, I know you're tired. Let's go, let's go. Yank that boy. Let's go, let's go. Stay low, Josh. Stay low, stay low. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good job. Let's go, let's go. Concentrate, concentrate, let's go. Five push-ups, Jake. Focus, Josh, focus, focus. Good job, Josh, walk one. Good, good. Turn it around, turn it around. Keep on going. Let's go, let's go. Last one. Handle it, handle it, handle it. Two more. Josh, you cross over at 30. Last one. Let's go. Last one, Jake. 10 seconds, Josh. Good job, Jake. Go, Josh. Lower, Jake. Lower, lower. Let's go. 2 more. No, fine. Gotta be in a row. Good job. Last one. You gotta make. Let's go. Good handles, good handles.
is Harry Cornell from Page 16. We're here today at Sanders Clyde with DAE TV, Fundamentally Mindful.
DAE TV!
He has opened several successful restaurants across the Southeast over the past couple of years. And in this edition of Quinton Reports, T-Bone's Restaurant Group co-owner Mark Cumins talks to me about his new restaurant ventures, his time at the University of Georgia, and his love for traveling. Well, you know, a lot of people know you as a successful restaurant owner, but beyond business, who is Mark Cumins?
Mark Cumins is a little nutty. Guy works hard, loves his family, tries to do the best he can do, look good in the community, loses bets to 11-year-old kids and has to grow those things. Man of his word, plays a lot of golf if it's possible, and tries to go around and make everybody feel good.
You know, I understand that you and Jerry became friends at the University of Georgia. Talk to me about that.
Oh, that was a lot of years ago. I lived with Jerry's brother in college, and Jerry was in law school, and we got to be friends. And one day he was telling me that we needed to go to the restaurant, and I was like, well, I don't have any money, you don't have any money, I need to go to the restaurant, because you never know how these things are going to happen. Just look around. So we found a place that was going out of business. We were friends, we were good friends, we shared a lot of the same philosophies. And I don't know how we sustained 28 years of business together, but we do, you know, Jerry's probably one of the best people I've ever met in my life. Maybe the best person I've ever met in my life. So it's easy to be a friend with him.
Yeah. And so I understand that you actually received a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Georgia in special education.
Special education, that's correct.
I'm wondering, you know, did you ever consider being a teacher?
Well, I was a teacher. I taught for a year. I worked with and then I worked with Northeast Georgia Mental Health and worked with Down the Challenge to disabled adults in a group home situation. I taught school in Northeast Georgia, and then I was a principal for 1 year in St. Petersburg, Florida, in a place called Florence and Nightingale Circle, which was challenged adults, and went back to get my master's. Somehow ended up in the restaurant business.
And you mentioned this earlier, but I read that you and Jerry didn't want to get a real job after college. So you opened the restaurant after.
No, with ours.
Oh, really?
That's pretty true. No, we opened in Athens, and we took a real tiny place that had gone out of business. It was going out of business. And, like I said, we didn't have any money. We found somebody to give us a little bit just to kind of get going. We used the old dishes, the old chairs. We did everything ourselves. Like I said, Jerry was in law school. And Jerry was amazing because I was married to my first wife at the time, and she was in school, and we just really kind of opened it to do something. Jerry would get out of law school and come straight to the restaurant, bus tables, wash dishes, whatever he could do. It was a hard work thing. And you know, it's kind of one thing led to another. But no one would hire us.
And you mentioned this earlier with Jerry going from law school to the restaurants and the daily nights. I understand that you were actually once a chef, you were a dishwasher, a manager, and a busser.
All over.
In hindsight, do you think that those jobs helped you to where you are now?
There's no doubt. I mean, you know, when you can do and have done any job there is, then you feel that you're working. You're not afraid of it. You know how it works. You know how to fix it if it's broken. And you know the words that we like to use are let's go do this, not go do this. Or you know we think that we work. I work for people. I work for people. They don't work for me. I just so yeah. I was the original chef. But at the same time I was doing orders, mopping floors, doing deposits. Cleaning toilets. Not while I was cooking.
Well, listen, you now are the co-owner of the T-Bone's restaurant. How does it feel to be your own boss?
Well, I'm just not even, because we're not even dating. But it feels good to be your own boss. It's flexible, and I've got young kids. we've grown pretty big. We're not huge, but we're pretty big. I mean, we got more than 20 stores, restaurant stores, bars, whatever you call them. But I got 2 little kids. I got a great partner. My partner really spells me a lot, gives me a lot of freedom to. And so, being your own boss, you can be flexible like that. I go to all the school functions and kind of able to take the trips, go to the basketball games, award ceremonies if they get one. So it's good.
Yes. Well, you and Jerry have been in the business for decades. Did you ever think that you would get this far?
No, not really. I mean, it was never a plan to do what we've done. It's just kind of like we evolved. Years ago, Jerry told me that we're good friends. And Jerry says to me, "How are we going to succeed long beyond our lives?" We are on our 3rd generation of this. If we think about it, people that started with us almost 28 years ago have had kids, they've worked for us, and now their kids, or we're raising their kids. So, I think we're going to grow bigger. We're planning on it, but we grow bigger because of people that work with us, that we work for. We need to provide them positions. We need to provide them growth. We need to provide them pride, something to be proud of, which is our foundation. And the things that we do, the quality we serve, the way that we serve, the way that we try to serve, the way that we know that we should run to open the door for people, not because we say we should, but because we should. It's our house. Yes. So, did I ever think we were going to grow this big? No. Jerry was going to be a lawyer, and I was going to be like running the health department. So, things happen. It's turned out pretty good.
It's awesome. Now, I don't know too many restaurants that are so involved with the community like you guys are. Why is it important to give back to the community that you serve?
That's a really good question. It's important because it's important. If you're making money in a community, you should give back to the community. You should do everything in your power to make the community that you live in which you live to be better. You should help the schools be better. You should help the streets be better. You should help the environment be better. You want to make it a better, more livable place. The foundation, our foundation, the things that we do for our community is, in our opinion, is going to ensure our growth in the future. We want you to be, for example, anybody that comes to work for me, how they will work for Jerry and me and T-Bone's company, why they will work for us versus another restaurant chain versus anything else. Well, maybe they just feel good about it.
I'm Mr. Joyner, assistant principal here at Sanders Clyde. Work mainly with grades 5 through 8, but I work closely with all of the students here. And I've been here for 3 years. This is our first year with the Expanded Learning Time program, and we are excited to have it. We have several different organizations that come in and work with our kids. We're excited to be able to offer those kids some things that many of them wouldn't have the opportunity to explore and learn about, some of the athletic components and some of the enrichment organizations, some of our partners bringing in guest speakers to speak with the students, and some of the components, karate, chess, writing that they would normally not be exposed to during a normal school day. It's been exciting to see the kids branch out and learn new things. It's been exciting to see them get excited about things like working with basketball, learning the skills of basketball, learning the skills and the techniques of chess, and some other components that we've been working with through our expanded learning time.
Seattle down by 6.
3:15. 3:56.
Again a bootleg. Step and fire. Wilson. Separation. Touchdown Rice.
I didn't even get a chance to look back. You would have had your boy, dog. I was gonna dance. Still had a whole dance.
I am the operating partner here at Liberty Tap Room and Grill in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We specialize as a craft brew house. We have 48 beers on tap, numerous specials throughout the week, Monday being the most popular, where all drafts are $3. Get a great chance to have some really great high-end craft beer for a very low price. We do happy hour 4 to 7 days a week. Sunday brunch from 11 to 3, 250 Bloody Marys and mimosas all day long. Food-wise, we specialize in ribs, wings, nachos, great upscale bar food. We also use a lot of certified Angus beef on our fillets, ribeyes, all of our burgers. Grind our burgers in-house, $6 burgers on Tuesdays. The capacity is 365 people, plus we have our private rooms, which hold 80 to 100 upstairs and 50 to 75 in our downstairs room. You just simply need to call and ask for a manager to reserve a room for private parties, Christmas parties, retirement functions, rehearsal dinners, you name it, we can do it. We have numerous other specials throughout the week. We do team trivia on Thursday nights from 7 to 9, and then Wednesdays we also promote local brews from North Carolina, South Carolina, or Georgia, will all be $3 also. We have a live musician every Tuesday night from 6 to 9. And other than that, we are Charleston's best kept secret here, tucked away at 1028 Johnny Dodds Boulevard. Time with Mark and Jerry has been very short compared to most. That's one thing you'll find with this company is the turnover is very low. Employees tend to stay a long time, and a lot of that is attributed to Mark and Jerry and the mentality that they've set up within the company. It's people first. It has always been people first. They do a ton of work with charities around town and around the whole state. It's very nice going home at the end of the day knowing you work for people like that. I've gained a wealth of knowledge in the very short time I've been with the company through my interactions with Mark, with Jerry, just on the people side of it. It's always putting your team first and putting your guests first and just being consistent with what you do. There's never anything that Mark would ask you to do that he wouldn't be willing to do himself. And Jerry, my time with Jerry has been more limited just from being in the Mount Pleasant location. I don't get to see these guys as much as I'd like to, but you know, it's always a compliment when your owners aren't stopping in every day. So we appreciate the opportunity to run this beautiful building, and we can't thank Mark and Jerry enough for it.
DAE TV, find out live.
DAE TV and Fundamentally Mindful. We're here today with a good friend of mine, Mark Cumins. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Jamel, how are you?
I'm good. So we'll get right into it, Mark. We love to do a feature, you know, on you and your business. So we're gonna get right into it. Talk about, carry us a little timeline. The Mark Cumins growing up in Augusta, high school, the collegiate years, and then carry us through the timeline how you become a successful businessman here in Charleston.
Success. Thank you for having me, by the way, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I was born and raised in Augusta, Georgia, which you know. I had 3 sisters and a great set of parents. My dad died when I was young. I was 15. So we weren't poor, but we never really had a lot. But he was a great dad, great mom. Taught me a lot about self-respect. Taught me a lot about doing things on my own, not being afraid, looking at problems as opportunities for things to be solved. Went to college, University of Georgia, majored in special education. Thought I would be a teacher the rest of my life or run a
You did do some teaching.
I did teach. I got my degree in special education. I worked with emotionally and mentally challenged adults. Back then they were called something different, but it's not politically correct anymore. A long time ago, but I loved it. Kind of along the way in college, I had to work my way through college and borrow money, so I always worked in restaurants, and that was easy money. It was easy for me. I was a social guy. I was a very good chef. I bartended, I mopped floors, I cleaned toilets, I washed dishes. Every job there ever was to be done, I did. When I graduated, I went to work for Northeast Georgia Mental Health. I worked with ex-convicts who were too young, to 18 to 23. They were too young really to be in the workforce, but they weren't in school, so there was federal monies programs that we worked. We built nature trails out in the woods. Then Northeast Georgia Mental Health, I was a teacher, got a job as principal in Florida for 1 year, youngest principal in the state of Florida. I was not your typical principal, but it wasn't a typical school. So I loved it, but here again, had no money. Went back to graduate school, went to work for a guy in Athens, Georgia. This was back in 1980. And he had some restaurants, and he sort of convinced me to stop the graduate school thing and make some money in restaurants, which I did. Jerry Shear, who's my business partner for 30 years plus, and I were friends. I was running restaurants. Jerry was in law school. His dad, when he was growing up, his dad had a deli and was a baker, and at one point had a pepper factory, made black pepper. And Jerry says, you know, he wanted to open a restaurant. And I was like, well, you don't have any money, I don't have any money. How do you think we're going to do this? And
He said, we'll find something somewhere if you find a place. So that's kind of the long and short of it. We scratched, chewed, clawed, bit, elbowed our way just to make a living. Never thinking that's what we were going to do, because Jerry was still in law school, and I was still planning on going back to teaching. And but one thing led to another. We had that place for about a year. We went to Augusta, opened our second place, then we turned around and sold the first place to a guy that had invested some money, a third partner. And now today, I mean, this is 30 years later, we have 24 restaurants and some other things, properties, this and that. And we are not very smart. We have 9 different concepts. So, but we changed our group. We're now the Homegrown Hospitality group now. We used to be the T-Bones Restaurant group. But, so that's the long and short of it.
And it is a great story, you know, just thinking back to just a little history between you and I when we first met. I think it was my sophomore year, well, my junior year, senior year at the college.
Probably like 95 or something.
95, right? And you always just say, hey, you know, Jamel, hey, come see me, come. You know, just being an athlete, being a student, we were like, we wanted to get to the game over and go with our girlfriend or something, just get away from and get some downtime. But when it was all over and I finally met you at the restaurant, we became good friends since then, and I really appreciate our friendship. Talk about, you know, Homegrown Hospitality and why you guys do so much in the community. You know, because and before you get into that, even when you go to all the restaurants, the staff is friendly, the service is great, and you know, and something I'm working with now with my staff is having them understand, like you said, cleaning the toilets, taking out the trash, doing those things that you don't do anymore, but you know how to do, and you would do them again if you have to. Still do. So, you know, talk about that and how you are able to have the same systematic approach in all your restaurants with good service, good food, good employees. How do you manage all that?
It's not easy, but we were lucky. We're lucky we have a lot of people that have been with us for a very long time. And I think it starts with my partner, Jerry, is a fantastic, amazing guy, and he pushes me very hard. And he gets it, I get it, about the community involvement side. 20 years ago we started the foundation, maybe longer than that, maybe 22 years. And because we realized that if we're going to make money in a community, or any community that we make money, we need to be giving back, not just writing checks, but to actively be involved. So that's one thing that we try to teach the people who work with us, who actually, I always say I actually work for them because I want them to do great. If they do great, I'll do fine. People talk about turnover rate in the restaurant business, that it's high, and I don't like the word turnover. I love the word retention. So I like a high retention rate. I like to hire people with it in mind to keep them around. So
the glass is always half full.
Exactly, and you know, and you can't teach people to be honest, loyal, and hardworking and really care. You can teach people who are honest, loyal, hardworking, and care. You can teach them how to do anything, but they have to bring that table, and that's what we really look for. And we've been fortunate.
So, Connie, tell us a little bit about the T-Bone experience.
T-Bones, which of course is very near and dear to my heart. I take it very personally. And what we do at T-Bones is we are a sincere organization. We're very enthusiastic, and our people genuinely care. It's actually a requirement when we hire new people to evaluate and make sure they're on board with what we're all about. We have an excellent regular customer client base, and we like to feel if you come in one time, you're going to come back because we're going to take care of you and you're going to know that you're appreciated, and we want you here. The product only continues to improve. The service is always something that we look at every day. We never relax and go, well, we've done enough. We continue to build on what we've done successfully, and to grow and to try new things, because Mark and Jerry are all about cutting edge and new things and the unusual. So that's what we do here, and I hope that you'll come see me.
You remember that?
That's nice.
You hit it.
That's impressive.
You know, just another day here in the struggle.
Yeah, you good.
White men cannot jump, that's for sure. You got that on camera?
He's stealing the show now, you know?
He is, that's good.
I can't believe I'm so rusty spinning this ball. That was terrible.
That was pretty good, actually.
That is
I used to be able
good.
to do it with like every finger and then just switch it to that one. My dad is an athletic director now. Head baseball, basketball, and football coach.
I didn't know that.
I'll take it over, Lynn.
Huh? I will not drink here, but I will serve you beer and wine and house liquor. All on happy hour and happy hour menu every day, Monday through Sunday, 4 to 8.
DAE TV, find out the life.
We're gonna go off track right quick. You know, when I usually ask questions, I usually give my 2 cents before I, listen to yours. And being a former student athlete, the biggest issue out there is, should athletes be paid? And again, I'll give my opinion on it. And we can start from the energy standpoint. If you describe a student, that's a certain energy that student have to do to be a student. You describe an athlete, that's a certain energy you need to be an athlete. So we're required to be a student and an athlete with no compensation. So the trade-off, what everybody's saying is that, well, you go to school, you get your degrees, your trade-off. Totally, I don't agree with that, because that's totally 2 different things. It could be that way if they leave us, and I say us, student athletes, out of commercials and take the name off their jerseys. That leaves us at an amateur state. It leaves us not, because the big businesses and big endorsers are throwing monies behind the players at the institution. So if the player is coming there for a scholarship without the extra money you're getting, then yes, equal trade. But if a player is getting, if your institution getting a lot of money from that player being there, and he doesn't get a stipend from it, that's a problem. Your take on it?
I agree. There are people making money off of the players. Universities making money off the players. Big businesses making money off the players. I think that players should get paid something. They should get paid.
And I think Northwestern is saying that it's doing it right, because they say after you graduate, you get a stipend to do something with if you graduate. And the reason why, because we spent 4 years in high school not working, 4 years in college, our choice, but in college we came. So we're 8 to 10 years out of the job market. Well, if we don't get a contract at a college,
this makes perfect sense, and so yeah, you can't work as a student athlete in college, even if you had the time. And so in the past, what would happen would be, and it still happens, especially in bigger universities with higher dollar people. I mean, and they don't get, believe me, on the scale of things, what they get paid for signing autographs or for selling a jersey or for, this or that, that's nothing compared to what people are actually making.
Mark, in the OB recipe, which is nutrition, skill development, and academics, let's go into those 3 things and how it applies to your everyday life and your success. We talk about the nutrition. You know what I mean? The mind has a lot to do with the body, and your mind is so intact. Nutrition, you obviously have a restaurant, so you're very mindful of that. The skill development, doing all those things, from taking out the trash and dealing with people, dealing with managers and employees, those things take a skill. And then the education part of it. As you say, you was a principal and you attended a University of Georgia. Talk about how those 3 components and how important they are to anyone's life, especially businessmen like yourself that go through those adversities and trials and tribulations just every day. How do those things apply to, and how do you deal with those three components?
It's a good question, and let's go back to the nutrition side. And as an educator, and I learned all this, but just go back to people in general. A person as a child has his capacity to learn completed by the time they're like 7 or 8 years old. Their capacity to learn. That means that all kinds of things play into it, but genetics, nutrition, excuse me, sleep patterns, experience, parental involvement, safety, security, all these things that kids experience from the time they're born until they're 7 or 8 years old, that determines their capacity to perform and learn the rest of their lives. Not how much they'll learn, but their capacity. So that's incredibly important, the nutrition side. As well, take into the account the parents being involved.
So in closing, lastly, we just talked about, we did talk about a lot of your community involvement. So lastly, just tell the community, about your involvement with the DAE Foundation. Why is it that, you continue to support the DAE Foundation, what we do in the community? We really appreciate it, but just want to shed light on the audience and just say, what's our deal? What's the love for the DAE Foundation?
The love for the DAE Foundation? What's the love, man? I'm sure you remember the day that we sat down at the little table in Market Street, in T-Bones Market Street. But you came back and you talked to me and you said you wanted to do this foundation. You wanted to start doing this stuff and work in the community, work with kids, and you wanted to obviously make a living at it, but that this was what you really wanted to do. And you would come to me and ask me for some advice. And I said to you, I will give you the seed money for the DAE Foundation. I think it was at the time, I don't even know if it was called the DAE Foundation, but it was in the very beginning. And I said, I will give you the seed money. And the only thing that I asked was, now this is from me and Jerry too, so this is not the Mark Cumins show.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
If Jerry was here, he would be saying something. So the criteria was, do what you said you were going to do. And if you don't do what you said you were going to do, that's fine, don't come back and see me anymore, because I don't have time for that, right? But, so we're going 14 years, 15 years ago, and you're still doing what you said you're going to do. And you've evolved a lot. You've come a long way and learned a lot of things, and you've helped a lot of groups, you've helped a lot of kids. You are always out there, you have a ton of energy, kids like you. You're a good role model, and that's why we continue. I always wish I could do more, but there's so many people out there needing and this and that, but I'm always going to be there to support you in some way, shape, or form, because you've always lived up to your word. And at the end of the day, there's a legacy that you're going to leave behind, and the legacy is going to be, what did you do with your life? How did you impact people? What are they going to say about you that's good? Because I can promise you you don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard, and there's not a Brinks truck behind the hearse. There never is, All the things that you do in your life, look back and say, what did I do to affect people? And hopefully it's positive. In your case, so far so good.
It's been a little bit positive.
Yeah.
But and we at DAE Foundation, we appreciate you. You're the reason why we was able to evolve and do things in the community, and I'm pretty sure the kids we service appreciate you as well. Well, that's all we have for today. We'll be bringing the Gus Mecca back this year, June 12th through the 14th, and doing some things with that. We're being featured actually. We're being featured as one of the tournaments in the country, the Charleston area. So that's great, because we had a great turnout last year. And Gus Mack and the staff really love the area. I love the same thing we talked about, the weather, the food, and so they're bringing it back and making it much more bigger this year. So we really appreciate that. DAE TV, fundamentally mindful. Be right back.
the general manager here at T-Bone's Grill and Grill at 80 North Market Street in the wonderful downtown Charleston. We're located in the historical district. Right across the street there is the market. We specialize in grill food, a steakhouse. We also have some seafood on the menu as well. We do a great trade with the market. We do a local discount so we can have the people, the employees of the market get in here and enjoy our food. We also have a great space. We seat about 225 people. 100 alone here on the second floor. We do some great parties. I've paired with Charleston Southern University in the past, doing weekly events, hosting to about 100 people. So we have a great space here in downtown. It's a wonderful company to work for. I've been here for just over a year now. Actually, one of the previous companies I worked for, one of my owners actually worked for Mark and Jerry 20 odd years ago. Like I said, this building alone has been here since 1860. Originally it was a horse stable, it was a mechanic shop, it was a Pepsi bottling station, there was a restaurant before us, but we've been here for about 23 years now. Like I said, it's just, you get the feel of being in the historical district of Charleston, in gorgeous Charleston, and it's just a fantastic place to work for. Mark and Jerry are phenomenal, got a wonderful relationship with them. Actually just got phone Mark Cumins about an hour ago. You know, their vision of being all about the people and providing wonderful service is just something that, you know, we're continuing to do along. You know, we're lucky enough to be working with one of their babies as such, and you know, just great people to work for, great communication I have with them. I mean, they have 21 locations, but we're always in contact with them, and you know, just out, you know, keeping up their vision and their, you know, what's made them successful over the years, and just continuing to do what you know, what they put in place, and just building it from, you know, from the ground up.